Welcome to the Money Pig Podcast, presented by Goodwin Investment Advisory, where our mission is to lead you to financial pig, peace, independence, and generosity. I'm your host, Tim Goodwin. All right, welcome back to the Money Pig Podcast. I am super excited today to have none other than my friend, my mentor for almost 20 years, the one, the only Dale Alexander. How you doing today, Dale?
What's up, buddy? I'm awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, man. So where are you calling in from today?
All right, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm up here at some friends of ours home, and this afternoon I'm speaking at the University of Tennessee Haslam Business School, and a bunch of brilliant MBAs and probably finance and econ grads. I got to get my game sharp because I'm bringing it tonight to some sharp.
Dude, so you're speaking at the University of Tennessee tonight.
That's correct. They're great friends of professor there, and they're bringing me up here in the business, dean of the business school. It's exciting. Got me a great 6-mile run in this morning along Tennessee River. So ready to go, man. Ready to go. Gorgeous.
That's unbelievable. You already ran 6 miles today. I don't know if I told you, actually, I changed my name's dog. Sorry, my name's dog. The name of my dog to 6 miles, so I could tell everybody I walked 6 miles today.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, you actually ran 6 miles. My whole plan was to walk 6 miles, but 6 miles is good. My dog. So,
good stuff.
Hey, so let me, and I know on my, just so you know too, like if I get a little grainy or if you're grainy, this cool system records it locally. It'll all line up. So unless you really lose track of my audio, we're going to be good for quality. So, but let me just kind of tell the audience a little bit about you, Dale. So, you're just one of my favorite people. You inspire me. Listeners, I love nicknames. You guys already know that. A little while ago, I nicknamed Dale Supernova because like when I hang out with him, he's got so much energy, so passionate about life and serving and helping others. Like I feel like he's like this giant star that's about to explode. And I feel that way. Like I get this great energy from Dale when I leave. But we actually met through church, at the time, it was called Watermark Church. It's now called Woodstock City Church. It's a campus of North Point Community Church, if you ever heard of it. And I was just super excited about how Dale was leading and a great Christian businessman in our church, and asked him to be my mentor. And so we get to hang out a few times a year and just get to rub shoulders and catch up. He's married to Kimberly, and they do some really cool things overseas. Actually, also in Kenya, where some of the nonprofit I work with does some things, which is super duper cool. They're super generous people. I've got 3 children. Dale's kind of, I don't know how you explain it to folks, Dale, because you're kind of in this, what is our buddy Reed, our old host, who called it a purpose-driven sunset career, right? You sold your business, and now you're an author of the talk, not the sex talk we're supposed to have with our kids, or that our parents have with us, but the talk on money. Yeah. So I love the play on words there. And you're traveling out throughout the whole country, kind of like you're doing today. You're mostly talking to high school seniors and high school students about this book. How many copies of your book have you either given away or have been purchased from you from schools?
We've probably given away 200,000, and there's sold 20 some odd thousand. So there's probably 230,000 in print, and hopefully going to go up pretty.
Like if you could stack your books and you could stack 200,000 of them, like, well, what height are we talking about? That would be a fun thing to look at. Like this Eiffel Tower height at this point, right?
I don't know. Hopefully.
Super cool.
And it's a
super
thin,
cool.
It's 87 pages. So it's a fast read.
Yeah,
I don't have enough.
It's a mini book.
I'm not smart enough to write along. What did Abraham Lincoln?
It's not necessary, man.
Was it Abraham Lincoln that said this is too important to write a long letter, or something like that?
Yeah, I didn't have enough time to make this shorter. Yeah. You know what? You make it succinct, and people are going to read it, and you made it palatable, and it's about inspiring, changing lives. You're not writing a novel here, right?
So 17-year-olds aren't going to read a 200-page book. Just that's it.
Exactly. You got to know your audience, right? You got to know your audience. So I told the audience, about our relationship, some things about you, Dale. Something that I love to do with my podcast guests is to give you a chance to share maybe something that the audience doesn't know about you.
All right. So I'm originally South Georgia guy. I had tremendous parents. I hit the lottery with parents. I tell people if I could be a tenth of what my father was, I will have done well. And I got fortunate in that. It
Wow.
taught us 1,000 lessons that I try and pass on to my friends, family, certainly children. And created my own financial services firm, insurance brokerage firm back in 1995. And 27 years later, sold it 3 years ago. And it just affords me the ability to fly all over the country and speak all over the world to young adults about money. I came up, had my certified financial planning designation since the 90s. And my middle son said, Dad, you need to tell all of our friends this story, this principle that you talked to us about. And that hopefully will change the world because I get to go all over the place talking to young adults about money. And the most important, I say, life decision they'll ever make. Other things, I love any kind of sports you can do. I can ride a skateboard on my hands. That's unusual for a 61-year-old. Kind of weird.
Which is like the logo. It's like the
It's,
logo, right? A silhouette of you
it is.
riding your skateboard on a
So
handstand.
Jordan has
Yeah.
Airman and Phil Mickelson has
Yeah.
Jumpman, and I've got Skateboard Dude. So
It's
anyway,
so great. That's like on your birthday, right? It's a tradition that you
It
like
is.
live stream it on Facebook
The
or put a video up of you doing it.
61-year-old skateboard handstand conference is getting. It's a small conference, so
Yeah. We done this Guinness Book of World Records thing, man? Because I don't think there's a lot of people that can do what you do, man. It's
So the
awesome.
world record is, by the way, 4/10 of a mile, 2,255 feet. So I'm trying to find a perfect hill to
Yes.
break. I think it would
Yes,
be cool.
we need to find this perfect hill. So
Mm.
it's actually really incredible. I'm gonna circle back on a couple of things you said. So I think it's incredible that you bragged about your parents because that is something you rarely hear anybody do, which I think is sad because maybe they can't brag about their parents. But I think it reminds us, I mean, let's get back to the core of faith and just scripture and go back to it's a 10 commandment to honor your
Mm.
father and mother. It's one of the commandments. I can't remember if it's the only one that comes with a promise.
Come on.
If you honor your father and mother, you will have, do you know the rest of it?
Good.
Long life.
Mm.
Like literally God's like, honor your parents and I'll extend your
Mm.
lifetime. I mean, that's wild. And you like super just honored them right now. And I think it's a really mature and incredible thing to do that. And I hope that inspires people that are listening, like hopefully you're able to stand on the shoulders of your parents. I have a similar story and I'm grateful for that, having really, really great parents. So bringing Reed back up. So Reed was the host before me.
Mm.
Reed's a great friend of both of ours, mutual friend. And I remember his dad telling me, and so his dad was adopted, okay, into Reed's grandparents, right? So Reed's dad was adopted. And Reed's dad says, his name's Phil. Phil says that he doesn't play the lottery because he already won the lottery. And that's how he felt as
Wow.
a kid who got adopted by Reed's grandparents, right? He
Mm.
said, I don't play the lottery. I already won the lottery just because of the family that I got adopted into. So I think there's something about that attitude and that perspective that's really special, I think.
I got
Really, really
just
special.
a
So
quick
that's cool.
story. I led a
Yeah.
leadership group of about 11 young men one time, and in this organization, and we would go around the room and tell the story of our families. And of the 11 men in this group, only 10 of them had only one of them had a decent family growing up, and the others it was abuse. It was alcohol, verbal, sexual, drug abuse. And when I told the story of my family and certainly my father, 10 of the 11 men in that room were crying because, Tim, we're starving for great parents and leaders and families. We're starving for that. And I realized that night it's rare. My story was not normal, and I need to be careful how I speak about it. But my parents were tremendous people, and if I can again be a tenth of what they were, I've got a high bar that before me, and I could go on with tremendous lessons. So we'll leave that for another time.
Well, we're like peeling off all these episodes. Like we could, yeah, have a whole series of episodes
Leadership,
on that.
faith,
Yeah, come on,
tithing. I mean, it's just on and
let's
on.
go,
I wrote this
let's
thing called,
go.
I gave it to my dad on Father's Day. It says 100 lessons my father taught me. And it's just,
Oh wow,
and it just thing after thing that my dad taught me. And it's just incredible. Seeing it.
it's a gift.
No, I mean,
That's a huge gift. You know, like you're saying, the probability is that a lot of people listening didn't have great parents, and so hopefully this just inspires you to be that great parent. Maybe that your parents weren't.
when my
Regardless.
children tell the story of their father to other men, I hope every man in the room is crying. That's I want to be that dad for my children telling the story of their mom and dad. Hopefully everybody that hears that story is crying like when I tell the story of my parents.
I love it. I love it. All right. So there are a lot of topics we could talk about. Today we're talking about, kind of you and generosity. And I'll circle back. Like you mentioned your son, it was Grant,
Yeah.
right? He was like, hey, Dad, like, can you come, like, I'm going to get my friends together. I'll serve some pizzas. Why don't you give him some financial pro tips, which that's, again, like, pretty cool that, like, he's a teenager at that point, right? It's like, yeah, Dad, like, I'm going to invite my friends to come over and listen to you. Like, what teenage son is like, yeah, come hang out with my dad and learn from him. Like, that already says so many things. Just that picture says 1,000 words, right? So then you share this concept. They all receive it really well, so well that was the spark that ignited this brand, and you traveling the world and you writing this book and you really trying to change the world, a generation, right? So to kind of refocus this back in on the main conversation today, which is around generosity. You guys have been incredibly generous people your whole lives. You just shared a lot about your book and how you've given away 200,000 copies of your book. I'm curious, what has inspired you to be so generous in your life?
So Kimberly and I, because it takes both of you. Yeah, one wants to be generous. That's a whole different subject.
Yeah, that's like the spender, the saver. You got to be in that together, right? All that. Yeah.
So Kimberly and I, we tend to love things that are around youth, that help build up youth. We love things that have to deal with leadership. We love things that help strengthen families. And when you look at the things that we tend to support, it's leadership, it's youth, it's families, and certainly wrapped up in Jesus and the Christian faith. And if we can pour into those four things, we believe those are things like giving my book away has a multiplication effect. I believe we love things that multiply, not add. Like our gift of the book, for example, to the state of Georgia, the 120,000 graduates. When we talked about that, and my parents were both educators, and I asked the Georgia State Board of Education, I believe we're going to do this project again, but I asked the State Board the first time, could we donate these books to the state because of the careers my mom and dad gave to the state? I'd love to give this back to the state. They gave my family so much. So we believe that in 30 years, Georgia could visibly look different if hundreds or maybe thousands of those 120,000 students, if hundreds or thousands of those students became some of the wealthiest, most generous people in the world. So with our gift, if you think about it, communities could literally look different in 30 years. Because some of the kids that got this book are going to become some of the wealthiest, most generous people in the world. So the multiplication, we're going to save marriages. We're going to send kids into college. We're going to keep fathers in the house. If we teach people to live inside financial margin and become givers, just what that could literally do for the state of Georgia. So if our dollars can future forward do big things for families and helping kids go to college and strengthening families and making Georgia stronger and look better in communities because people are pouring back. That's lasting impact with giving dollars. And that's what we love giving things to.
Yeah, so I love like the passion around it, syncing up with your wife, with your significant other about what you're passionate for. You guys are thinking long term, changing community, um, you know, things that are going to impact for a long time, right? So
And things that will
let's try to go.
multiply, because when they
Mm.
become givers, their children are going to see that and they're going to become givers, and then their children. And like I always say, it could literally change grandchildren's lives. So we love multiplication things. That's why leadership in young adults and, in our youth, and I think that's so important. It's multiplying.
That that's awesome. So let's dig a little deeper. Like you're talking about the generosity you're doing and why you're doing it, what kind of qualifies, right, within the framework for you and Kimberly. Go back to the beginning, go back further. Why are you generous? How did you start being generous? What started all this, right? Like you're talking about the generosity you do now, right? But like when you first started being generous, probably as a young person, why? Why did you start being generous?
My mom and dad, uh, y- you know, that often quoted phrase, more is caught than is taught. And I just saw parents. Um, I just saw parents. We did. My dad was in education, mom too, but we didn't. We were a solid middle class family, but my parents always gave. They always did. I saw what it did for others. I saw what it meant for our family, and as much as they gave, we never lacked for anything. And I thought we were the richest people in the world, but no, the generosity has many faces to it, Tim. You can be generous with your money, you can be generous with your time, but what about generous with kindness? What about generous with respect? And I love being generous with encouragement. I mean, you don't have to have money to make the world to lift the world. I mean, you can do that, and that's great. But gosh, it's almost like what we need more of is just generosity with kindness, with love, with respect. I just believe in being generous and lifting others up. I was given a business card decades ago, back in the 90s. I'd done a speech. Kimberly's there. I'll never forget. Kimberly was talking to this lady, and she gets her business card as a real estate lady. She writes something on the back and she finishes Kimberly, and she walks up to me. I'll never forget this moment. And she has me this business card, and it has three small words on the back. I've still got this business card. And the words were, "You are exceptional." I was in the 90s, and I still have that business card. The ink has faded off of it, but you can see the imprint of it. And it said, "You are exceptional." And
Wow.
why do I have that card? Because she poured something into me that stayed with me for 30 years. I mean, her investment in words that cost nothing. I still have that card. And when I leave money, an extra tip for people in restaurants, that's one of our things. I love to turn the bill over and write, "You are exceptional." Who knows who's going to keep that 30 years? Zig Ziglar, the famous speaker Zig Ziglar, once said, he said, "How do you know when somebody needs encouragement? When they're breathing,"
Breathing.
right? When they're breathing.
Mhm. I remember that, yeah. I was gonna say, this is a really great challenge of not like, limiting in your mind the generosity is limited to money. It's not just limited to money. And often we hear like, you can be generous with your money and your time, right? And I've done the same thing, probably inspired by you to challenge myself. What are other areas of my life I could be more generous in? Not just my money, not just my time, but you're talking about being generous in words. And there was something, which I think is great, right? Just be generous. Like if you can encourage somebody, like if it's their birthday, instead of just saying happy birthday, maybe expand on why you want them to be happy. What impact have they had in your life? And speak something into their life, right? And tell them you're praying for their next trip around the sun to be the best one they've ever had, right? So
Here's one of those powerful things you can do. Write a handwritten note. And when we start our staff meetings at our office, I make everybody have our note cards there. You have to write a note, and it's not your family, it's not a colleague, but write a note to somebody outside of our organization, and write a note that they will keep the rest of their life. It's such a great habit of personally handwriting notes to people.
now is that Do you use something called paper for that with like a pen? I'm not familiar with these forms
It's
of
called a
ancient
pen,
medium
a
that you speak
pen.
of.
Yeah.
Pen is how you spell that.
So,
Okay.
so
Paper,
our
there's an
pastor,
envelope and a stamp. That sounds like a
believe
lot of
it,
work, Dale.
believe it. Our, our pastor, Andy Stanley, said something one time. He said, don't go wide, go deep. Don't go wide, go deep. I'm on a cycling tour back in the day. I was a cyclist, and we were in Colorado, and we were coming from Steamboat Springs on this tour, and we come out of the mountains of Colorado, and we're coming into Wyoming, headed to, I think, Laramie, southeast Wyoming. We had 20 more miles to go on this day. And so we're in a line, and we're going at it. And over to the right is the storm coming across the desert. Huge storm. And we're going, wind's kicking up. We're trying to get to Laramie, 20 more miles. And so we're sitting there riding. There's a tiny duck in the road. What? What? I swear that was a duckling in the road. So I go, I'm out. They take off, and I turn around and I ride back. I have the picture of this. You would say I'm crazy. I have the picture of it. And I turn around and ride back, and there's a duckling this big on the white line of the road. Now, I don't
Yeah,
know
because
about
it's
you.
not so hot.
I don't know about you, but that's weird. And I look around, there's no ducks. There's no water. We're in the desert. Nobody else saw it, said anything about it. And it's on the white center line of a road in the desert of Wyoming. Now that's weird. By the way, to end the story, I grabbed that duck and we rode for 20 miles. I rode that little dude 20 miles to Laramie, holding him like this. I get to
Oh my
Laramie.
goodness.
I ride across town, find this pond, and let him out at this pond where some other ducks.
Oh my goodness.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know why that duck was in that road. Here's what I know. One day I'll find out. One day God will tell me why that duck was there. But I've thought a lot about that duck. So who's God putting in your path, telling you to pick up and to go deep with, like that duck? Somebody's getting put in your path. There's something that keeps coming back around to people watching this. Something keeps coming up on your calendar. Something that you're just getting nudged to pick up and go deep with. And you never know who that's going to be. All your life, God's going to place people in your path. Somebody today may be one moment away from doing a really bad decision in their life. Be the reason that they don't, right? We were created to give. The mind doesn't allow itself to feel hopeless when it's giving hope. So anyways.
You're right. And we've actually mentioned that before on previous podcasts, like literally like the frequency of hope and gratitude will push out any fear or anxiety. Like they can't coexist in your brain at the same time. Really, really great memory. I will tell you what I've been challenged the most about lately in terms of being generous is with forgiveness. Yeah, right. So like I'm always trying to increase generosity, money, time given back, my words, like we're talking about, write a handwritten note, be inspiring, encourage people on a birthday message or whatever. But man, like something hit me like a ton of bricks. I heard a speaker the other day and he was talking about being generous with forgiveness. And I was like, man, no one wants to do that.
I give $5,000 instead.
Yeah. I'm going to go write a check to your nonprofit.
No,
I ain't
I'd
going to
just
forgive
rather
nobody.
give $5,000 in forgiveness. Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah, that is. Well, this has been super duper cool, Dale. I always love hanging out with you. There's so much energy, so much inspiration. I'm one of your biggest fans. I kind of just want to give you a chance as far as the listeners here, if there's, anything in terms about generosity that you kind of want to lead them with or challenge them with.
So when I talk to young adults about why would you ever give, and
start with why.
And so, do you know what this phone? If you're listening to this, I'm holding up the phone. Do you know what this phone is telling me to do? Get more for myself. Social media, this is telling us to keep more for ourselves, to hoard more for ourselves. And this is telling us that the way to success and happiness today is by serving ourselves. Tim, it's the world's greatest lie. And if you know somebody dealing with anxiety, anger, loneliness, depression, unhappiness, part of the reason is that stuff is telling us to serve ourselves. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, like I said, the mind doesn't allow itself to feel hopeless when it's giving hope. When you do great things, chemicals get released in your brain. It's why there has to be a God. Nature does the opposite. Nature wouldn't do this. It does the opposite. Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, these things get released in your brain when you do good things. And the second reason is the law of reciprocity. You cannot outgive what you outget. In my life, I'm not going to say this is going to work for people watching this, but in my life, the more Kimberly and I have tried to give away, we've seen more come back. And I'm not going to say it's going to work like that for people. Trust me on this. I'm not a prosperity preacher. But here's the trick to giving and generosity that people don't understand. When you start giving, what you think you want to get back when you start giving, well, if I give you 10, I'm going to need to get 12 back, whatever 10 and 12 are. Let's say it's dollars. Tim, if I give you 10, I'm going to need to get 12 back. Here's the trick to giving. When you start giving that 10, what you think you are going to want to get back is going to completely change. Because giving is going to grab your heart, and everything about life gets new perspective when you start giving. And you're going to come back to me and go, hey, Dale, here's 12. And you go, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Go give it to somebody else. Because it grabs your heart, and everything changes when you become a giver. You cannot outgive what you outget. George Jenkins, the founder of Publix. I love Publix. He was an incredible man, and he was very wealthy, and he gave away millions of dollars in Lakeland, Florida. And someone once asked him, how much would you be worth had you not given away so much money? And he said, probably nothing. He owed everything he had to what he gave away, because he understood the law of reciprocity. And the third reason that you give is because the world rewards givers. Everybody wants to be around a person that's a giver because they're rare. And they just spread positivity and even forgiveness and hope, and they're rare. And everybody wants a piece of a person that's a giver. They're going to ask you to breakfast or lunch for your advice. They're going to ask you to serve on boards of the companies. They're going to put you on planes and take you to places that you can't imagine, because everybody wants to be around a person that's a giver. And you always say, give your dollars either names or wings, because they're going to go somewhere. Either name where it's going or it'll fly away. That's such a great quote. Give it places to go. And nobody ever drifts to an intended destination. All right, I'm getting off topic. Go ahead.
All right, everybody, click back and the rewind little thing on your app and go listen to that all over again. Take some notes, take a nugget. That was huge. I do need to give credit where credit's due. I stole that saying from Joe on my team. Him and his wife always say, money's either got names or wings. And I think it's just perfect. Bible talks about money takes wings and flies away. And the only way you're going to prevent it is nail it down, give it a job, give it a name before you get it is the best way to go. So yeah, I love you so much. I love to kind of sign off with a podcast with something that we're grateful for. So I'll go first while you're thinking about what you're grateful for. I would just be totally remiss if I didn't say I'm grateful for you. Just that to have exposure to you, to get to meet you. I know there's probably a lot of people listening that wish they had mentors. And so I'm just glad that I got to meet somebody like you, and that I can, grow up with somebody who's got a healthy marriage, who has a healthy relationship with their kids, who's been successful in business and generosity, and is now trying to change the world. So I'm grateful for you, Dale. I'll always be one of your biggest fans.
Thank you, man. Likewise, buddy. Appreciate you. What am I grateful for? Just grateful to God that He's just, given me a life. When I started my business, I just wanted to grow. I don't know why God put that in my heart. I just wanted to grow.
Right.
And to just be in a world and country that allows people to chase their dreams. And in America, you can be anything you want to be. You can be as successful as you want to be. It's up to you. And I say this, God, here's my prayer I try to say every day, but God, I don't know why you chose the Alexander. I don't know why you chose my wife to hang out with me. I don't know why you chose me to be able to get a lady like that, have my children. I don't know why you have graced us with what you've graced us. But as long as it is in your will to continue to bless us, help us to manage it well. I don't know why you chose us, Lord, to give us this great of a life, but as long as it's in your will to continue to bless us, help us to do it well. And that's just what I pray. And
That's a good prayer. It's a good posture. Yeah, good attitude as well. So usually I just sign off and tell everybody bye-bye. But when Dale kind of signs off, like when he's done talking to you at the end, he'll do it when he's hanging out with you. He'll do it if he's filming a video. The last thing Dale says is,
go be great.
Go be great. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.
See you then.
Thank you for tuning in to the Money Pig Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. To stay updated on new episodes, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you found value in today's discussion, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about the topics we covered, feel free to visit us at goodwininvestment.com and reach out. This episode is produced by evance.net. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, a solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles, nor as a basis for making any financial decisions. Goodwin Investment Advisory is a registered investment advisor with the SEC, CRD number 131193. Please note that the host and or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investments mentioned in this podcast. Investments carry risk and are not guaranteed unless stated otherwise. We strongly recommend consulting with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and or legal professional before implementing any strategies discussed in this episode. Lastly, past performance is not indicative of future results.